Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen, here with Alex King on this Thursday, January the 2nd, 2020. Happy New Year, everybody. It's 4 p.m. New York time, and wherever you are in the world, thanks for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And Alex, we finally made it. 2020 is here.
2020.
Now, are you seeing clearly now that we've reached 2020? Are things a lot more clear than they were 2 days ago?
No, not at all. I've resorted back to my glasses because I'm like, I can't see the street signs. It's a problem.
Well, work on that.
Work on it.
Yeah.
Jinx. Yeah.
There you go. I actually do believe 2020 is going to be a wonderful year. It's going to be a great year of clarity for so many people, and it's going to be clarity is like it's the highest vibration you can get. It's like tied with joy and happiness and so forth. They're all at the top tier of vibration as these vibrational things go. And boy, when you have clarity, everything gets so much easier. Everything.
Yep. As my generation say, everything hits different.
It hits different. Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. Yeah. That's almost an indifferent way of saying it, but it's still, it's well, it hits different.
Oh, man.
Well, that's cool. That's fun. So, all right. Well, you were digging around for a post on Facebook for us to start our conversation with. Did you actually find it?
I'm still scrolling.
Still scrolling, okay.
And then I went to my messages and came back and I lost it. So, hold on. I got to get to December 2nd. I'm on December 9th. Give my computer a second.
Facebook can be a bit problematic, but while it's coming up, we can kind of do like a look back on it. Oh, okay. Well, then you can just go directly to the source. So tell us what it's about and tell us how this came into our orbit, so to speak.
Okay, so Walt and I are always discussing the dating scene, even though he's married and I'm single-ish. Not really, but
Single-ish.
Single-ish.
The new term for 2020.
So we're always talking about online dating and social media and stuff like that. So he had sent me a post about it's kind of a spoof on Facebook about a woman who's dating a guy and he's nowhere on social media. So what does she do? How do her friends find out about him? Like, how is he even real if he doesn't post? Like,
well, she freaks out. That's what she does. She just completely freaks out. Like, I can't date you. You don't exist.
Yeah, exactly. But I ran into that issue. I find it so weird. Like, how are you on a dating app but you don't have a social media?
Mm.
How do I know that you really exist? Are you really who you say you are? I need to know.
So what do you do? Like, do you poke him with a stick or something?
No, usually when this happens, you say they're going to meet and they never show up.
Ah.
So they aren't usually real.
They aren't. Okay. So if there's no social media presence, then it's proof that you really don't exist.
I'm not going to say it's proof because I do have a friend who refuses to social media, and he really does exist. So I've seen both sides of the coin.
Okay. Well, that's fair and honest. I like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But it was funny, though. And
It was.
the best part was I saw that video for the first time the day after we did that really in-depth show about needing social signals and so forth in order to figure stuff out. And I was giving you a hard time about it. And then here comes this video that basically plays out what I'm talking about. Just a little law of attraction going on there.
A little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. And it was funny. It was such a funny video.
Yeah, I was dying.
But correct me if I'm wrong. You actually had an experience that you talked about on the show, like I'm going to say almost a year ago, where it was basically the same kind of thing. You couldn't find anything out about this guy, and it was really bothering you.
Yes. I do remember that. I don't know which guy it was, but I do remember this happening.
Yeah.
It was quite weird. I was like, okay, you don't have a Facebook. You don't have an Instagram. You don't have anything, but you have a dating app. I feel like you have a secret wife. I feel that's like this is the situation. And I don't know if he ever had a secret wife. However, we never met.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Never met because you never tried, or never met because he didn't show up?
He didn't show up.
He didn't show up. Mm-hmm. So proving your theorem.
Straight up ghosted.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, okay. So there it is. The official word on the scene is you have to have social presence if you want to find somebody.
At least, I mean, somebody should be able to Google you or YouTube you or something. You got to have something out there.
Something for the private detective to find when he's doing his digging for you.
Well, I mean, I've got private detective skills, so I have a source. And if your address and phone number don't match, then I'm very suspicious.
And surprisingly, that's easily checked these days.
It is.
Almost discouragingly.
Yeah.
Privacy is definitely gone.
It's almost my immediate source that I go to before I actually check your Facebook.
Okay. So you pay one of those $2 fees in order to find out what they match up. No, it's not that?
It's free. I don't pay for nothing, Walt. Come on now. Stop it. You don't pay me enough to be paying these fees for all these stupid things. Like, no. Sorry. No.
They aren't nicking you today. Okay.
No, I use free access, and I've used it on my friends, making sure that it was legit, and it's legit.
Okay. So you trust that service, then. That's good service, as far as you can tell.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Hasn't steered me wrong yet.
All right. So, I'm not really quite sure where the law of attraction fits into this, because this sounds more like a case of I'm trying to attract something I really don't like. So, yeah, I'm not sure where to go with this one.
But isn't that law of attraction anyway? Just because you don't prefer it doesn't mean it's not law of attraction.
Well, true, yeah. I guess it's like it's an object lesson in here's what not to do when you want to attract what you want.
Let me see if I can sort that out. Here's what not to do when you want to attract what you want.
Yeah,
okay.
This is like the longest hashtag of all time.
Facts. I forgot about the hashtags. Let me switch my browser, please.
Oh, that's right. You're gonna engage in a new hashtag practice.
Oh yeah,
for
2020. Yes.
That's right. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I guess it does raise a law of attraction issue, which is if that's not the way to find what you want, to attract what you want, then there's our opening. How do we attract what it is that we want in this context?
In this context, I would just simply add it to my list. Must have a social media presence.
How much of a presence does someone need to have? I mean, there are people who are just plain private. They just don't want to share a whole lot.
Oh, that's fine. You can have a Facebook and let it be private. I just need to know you exist in the real world.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
if
you can't find out anything,
your privacy, exactly. Yeah.
If you can't find anything about them, that's not a big deal. It's just that they have to be there.
Yeah.
See, that surprises me.
The rest of the stuff we can get to through conversation.
That surprises me because I recall you telling me at one point about how you like to dig down and find all the details about somebody in social media, and now you're saying
that's because I'm nosy.
But now you're saying you'd be okay if there were no details.
I'm saying your page is allowed to be private as long as you have a page. That's what I'm saying.
Nicely dodged.
Yeah.
Beautifully done, I have to say.
Because everybody deserves their privacy. Like, if there's something you don't want to tell me right away, we just met, that's fine. But, it still weirds me out for people who don't have... Even my mom's got a social media. So do you. Like, it's weird. I don't know.
But how much is enough? Just one page with nothing on it?
Nothing on it seems suspect. Because now it's like you made a fake page just for this conversation.
But nothing on it is what you tend to get when it's a completely private site. I mean, you don't find out anything except maybe one photo of it might be them. You never know.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, most pages that are private, and I'm just talking about Facebook, most pages that are private, you will see at least they change their cover photos and their profile pics. You can at least see that.
And very often the cover photo and profile pic aren't even of them.
Sometimes, but a lot of the time there is.
Okay. And you're okay with that. That's good enough.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Okay.
Because eventually you're going to add me as a friend and I'll see your stuff anyway, so it'll be fine.
There's a method to your madness.
Sure is.
Okay. Well, then let's make this the broader topic of dating, since you brought it up as a dating topic. It truly is. First of all, you've had some success lately. So
yes.
You are now speaking from a position of being a successful dater, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
I would say so.
Give some advice.
Now that I'm on the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
It's nice over here. It's comfortable. It's warm and it's winter, so it's good. I like it.
It's warm and it's winter.
Yes.
I like that. Well, I got news for you. The longer that the relationship lasts, the more that stays true.
Facts.
It's good stuff.
I see that happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what advice would you like me to give now that I'm a guru and everything?
Well, you remember what it was like when you were on the other side. You remember what kinds
3
of
months
doubts.
ago? Yeah.
Yeah. You remember what kinds of doubts you had. You know, if you were talking to yourself a year ago, knowing where you were at a year ago, what would you tell yourself?
Don't give up. Stay strong. And don't what's the word I'm looking for? Don't settle. You know what I mean? Like, don't change your, not views, but change your, I'm looking for a specific word.
I want to suggest an alternative way to go about this.
Okay, so don't accept less than what you want, is what I'm saying.
Okay, so whenever we start a sentence with the word don't, we're expressing what we don't want. Mm-hmm. Turn it around and express the same thing in terms of what you did want and what you did like and what really did happen.
That's good. Okay. I don't want to say only. Just keep looking for what you want. Like, stick with your list. I'm not going to say don't. Stick with your list and... Yeah, I'm at a loss for words today. I don't know.
Well, what you're experiencing is actually fairly common on a wide range of topics. We're really good at expressing what we don't like.
What we don't want,
We need a lot of practice in terms of expressing what we do like and do want. And that even is true when we get it. We still have trouble expressing it, which shows by some miracle the law of attraction works even better than we do. But it's a great opportunity also to practice, to say, okay, well, how would I express what I really did like, what I really did want? I mean, I don't know exactly what methods you used. I know that a year ago you told me that you had written out a list and wanted your prospective mate to meet all the requirements on that list. So I presume that's one thing that you did. That's a way of expressing in the positive what it is that you're looking for. So think about that list and talk about how were you focused in order to make that happen? Because you had to be, otherwise it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, true. Because I did give up at a few points last year. Yes. And I was like, I'm done. Well, forget it.
Quite vocally.
Calling it a quits. Yes. But also vocally, I was also voicing what I did want to basically anyone who would listen. So by doing that, I was bringing everything to fruition by, just voicing and saying it out loud and believing that this could happen one day.
So what were you looking for? Give us some flavors.
Okay, so someone who is passionate about their career.
Okay.
Not just a job. Someone who is romantic, someone who is caring and shows it.
And romantic means what? Be more specific. What exactly is romantic from your perspective?
Just someone who appreciates you and shows that they appreciate you, on a daily. I like that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think we all like to be liked and loved.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is romantic. It is probably the epitome of it. So, okay.
It's the little things sometimes.
It doesn't take a lot.
It doesn't take a lot. I was not asking for the world, but at the end of the day I was. You know what I mean? I wasn't asking for the world, but I did expect it. So.
That's another interesting thing right there, because we human beings, as we've demonstrated in the last 5 minutes, are really good at couching phrasing in the way that sounds best to us at that particular moment so that we sound politically correct and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, it comes down to the vibration.
Right.
And, I mean, you found a way just then to express something that you were kind of uncomfortable with the words, but clearly the vibration, the feeling was there. The feeling was strong. And the feeling is what trumps all anyway.
Right.
So it almost doesn't even matter what the words are. I mean, they do matter because we can kind of trap ourselves with our words and trap ourselves into a bad feeling place with our words. But ultimately, it's how we're feeling that makes the difference.
True. Very true.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the feeling that was associated. I mean, you just described some behaviors. The feeling is going to be pretty close to that. What are the feelings associated with the items that were on your list that ultimately got fulfilled when you met Kenny?
Like I said, warmness. Also, comfort. I also said that.
Comfort in what sense? There's a lot of ways that word gets used.
Comfort in the sense that, like, I knew I would be taken care of. And I'm not talking about financially. I'm talking about emotionally.
Ah.
Someone would, reciprocate my feelings and express theirs and not be closed off and like some people can be, and what else?
Somebody who knows how to listen to what you're feeling without trying to fix it.
Oh, yes. That is so important. Or just simply say, what would you like me to do? And if I say nothing, do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But, just ask me.
By the way, to all those who have wondered whether it was worth developing that kind of skill of listening, it really is, because it makes listening so much easier when you don't have to fix anything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
definitely does.
Sit back on the couch and, play with the phone.
It's less stressful.
And, as long as you're watching the other person while you're playing with the phone, you're okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just don't let them go too close to the fire. They'll be fine.
Right.
It's the same thing with babysitting. Like, don't touch that. And then back to what I was doing.
Well, hopefully that's not the sum total of your conversation.
Send all your kids to me, please. I'm a great babysitter.
That would make a really uncomfortable date. Yeah, right. Really uncomfortable date. You're sitting there looking at your phone. Don't touch that. I mean,
you're out of control, Walt.
Yeah, I thought you're the one who said this. I'm just repeating it back.
I was talking about getting too close to the fire. You took it to another level. Oh my God. 2020, folks.
There it is. That clarity is just coming through.
Yep.
Okay, well, hey, you walked into that one.
I did. I definitely did. Oh, man.
But the fact is that this is, we're doing it kind of humorously, but this is the kind of thing you have to look at.
Yes.
This is the kind, if you really do want to have a change happen, and you've been experiencing the polar opposite of it, and it seems like it's never going to go away, that polar opposite, you have to make that shift.
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
No, it's not. I think that was my main problem, and I wasn't realizing I was doing it, is like, I would talk to you all the time, and I'd be like, oh, I'm going to get ghosted, or this guy's never going to show up, or I don't want this, and da-da-da. I was just so negative. But I'm like, I really want a relationship. I really want someone. And I want my ex back. I'm never one of those people. But still, I'm still being negative and not realizing that I was doing that. I was at the restaurant telling the waiter what I didn't want instead of what I actually wanted.
So you're describing very adequately, very eloquently, what it's like to be in that space where you don't feel like you can make the change, but you made change anyway.
Yeah.
So how and what did you change?
I pivoted, I guess. I don't remember a specific day, time, or place where I did it, but
isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it just happened.
Because what you're really saying is, I think, I'm putting words into your mouth. You tell me if I'm wrong. You shifted gradually over time.
Yes, definitely gradually. It was a weird year last year.
And like most people, when we try to pivot, sometimes you pivoted successfully, sometimes you didn't pivot at all, sometimes you tried to pivot and failed, sometimes you started the pivot and went right back to hide back in that corner you were in the first place.
Yeah, you did a 360 instead of a 180.
Yeah, you just do all of these things. And,
yeah.
And that's part of that transition process.
Yes, it definitely is.
Do all that.
Mm-hmm.
We human beings want to avoid all of that. Like, I should just go from 0 to 60. Well, no, you actually have to go through 20, 30, 40, and 50 in order to get there.
Facts, yes.
And when you're going 20, it often means you're going the wrong direction.
Unless it's a school zone.
So you have to listen for the GPS to say, make a legal U-turn.
I've never heard them say, make a legal U-turn.
Yeah, that's actually the older ones. The newer ones don't say that so much. That was in some of the older Garvins, though.
All I hear is recalculating route.
Yeah, that's the more common one now.
Yeah.
I always thought the other one was better, Just saying.
I agree with you. I like make a legal U-turn. Because it makes you think, oh, can I turn here? I should look for the sign.
Yes, right. Just a reminder, you should do this legally.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, GPS told me to turn around. Sorry, cops. My bad.
Yeah, that would lead to some very fun conversations. Mm-hmm. So anyway, yes. But the fact is that you have to make that legal turn, and it can take time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And we just showed why. But it's worth it.
It's so worth it. It is so worth it.
Because you got there.
Yeah, I did.
And it's also kind of a reminder that it isn't all on you. You just have to make some change.
Mm-hmm.
The universe takes care of the rest.
Sure does.
Source energy takes care of the rest.
And stop stressing about the time that it takes. That's another important thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's better to go timeless. That's what.
Yeah, because the universe is infinite.
About.
It has no concept of time, so it'll get there when it gets there.
Well, it does have a concept of time. It just doesn't experience it like we do.
Okay.
Non-physical. Non-physical can see time. It's like it's just kind of laid out in a diorama, sort of. But
True.
We're the ones who experience it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you're right. We got to let go of that. We got to just say, you know what? Screw the time. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen when it happens. What's important is me happening, me making the change, me shifting one terrifying step after another.
Mm-hmm.
Just continuing to take steps and get there, because that's what's going to make the difference. And then all of a sudden one day you get there and like, oh, where did that come from? Facts.
That's what I said. We were talking about it last night. I was like, do you know? You checked off everything on my list. I did not even think you were real. And then you showed up at my door. He was like, same. I was like, he's like, I can't believe this is happening. Oh, it was a great conversation.
Now, how cool is that? We will often talk about how, well, you want to turn that around. You don't want to say, well, I can't believe that's happening. Well, it happened, despite the fact that you felt that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because remember, I was famous for saying, oh, I got to kiss all these frogs before I find my prince.
Yeah, absolutely you did, yeah.
Didn't realize that was a negative thing. Because I was just inviting all the frogs in. That's all I was doing.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But nevertheless, you survived that and managed to attract Kenny anyway.
Yep.
And he managed to attract you.
Facts. I'm slowly teaching him about law of attraction. I was like, we attracted each other, right? He's like, yeah, you're very pretty. Not what I was saying.
Thank you, but that's not it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, but no. Let me explain this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was weird. It was crazy because it was like 2 weeks after we had that podcast with the woman who made Facebook dating, which is where I met him. Yeah.
Yeah. Pauline. When Pauline came on.
Yep.
In fact, I got to check with Pauline and see how her book is doing. I haven't checked back with her since then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably doing pretty well, considering what the time was.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, she timed that one perfectly. She had to wait like 8 months to time it that way. The book was ready 8 months before. It was all ready to go.
Yeah.
But Facebook kept delaying the opening, so she just kept delaying the release of the book.
Yeah.
Which is funny. But yeah, I'll have to talk with her and find out what's going on. Paula, actually. But so... Any other tidbits for people who are dealing with relationship issues? I mean, we've been addressing how do you attract somebody, but you can also be dealing with, like you alluded to, you can be dealing with exes. You can be dealing with people who are not even romantically associated with you, but you have relationship problems with them. All of this applies. I mean, it's all under the same umbrella.
I'm doing all of that right now.
All right. Well, then that feeds into where I was going with it. Talk about now you've got some experience with attracting the right person. How is this influencing the other relationships in your life?
So I don't personally have a problem with exes. He's got an issue with his exes. So there's that issue because when we got together, it was a little raw for him, a little fresh. I feel like he got on Facebook dating as like, well, forget her. I'm going to find my forever person. And, out of spite in a way. And it ended up working out. But
not the recommended way, but it still works.
Not the recommended way. I take some time for yourself and get yourself together before because you can't love someone unless you start loving yourself. So you need
apparently
that
he was able to make that that jump, even though he did it so quickly. He was able to make the jump when you actually showed up.
Yeah, I was concerned. I was like, oh, how long ago did y'all break up? Oh, wait, hold on, red flag. But it works.
But he did it. Yeah. Not everybody can do that, but kudos to him for doing that.
She's still not letting go, but...
Hey, if he lets go, she doesn't have a whole lot of choice in the matter.
Well, he had a little trouble doing that because he was like, oh, no. He's like, maybe I should send her a Christmas card. I was like, nope. That's going to start everything back up again. It's going to be a problem. We just got her to stop calling. So, chill.
Yep. So, it takes practice, but it also proves that once he completely lets go inside, she'll be gone.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's law of attraction right there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
A lesson I had to teach him.
How about other stuff? You said you're dealing with a lot of stuff, other stuff where your relationships are concerned. How has what you've experienced attracting Kenny into your life affected your other relationships?
Kenny hasn't affected my other relationships. It's different stuff. Like I'm having an issue with a friend of mine who promised something or promised to be somewhere with me and then never showed up. No call, no show, no nothing. And I'm just like, that's not how we roll. That's not how I do things. So
knowing Alex King the way I do, that's not a relationship that's going to last real long.
No, it's not. And I'm like, I'm concerned on the one hand because I know what it could possibly be about, but on the other hand, I'm like, I don't have time for this. Not my problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how would you categorize it? I mean, are you saying that what you experienced attracting Kenny hasn't really spilled over to affect your thinking about anything else where relationships are concerned?
It did give me made me look a second time at the friend that I canceled a little, like 6 months ago. I was like, all right, well, because we were talking about it and I told him about my friend Alaska and I said, I canceled him, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, because the situation was we had gotten to an incident and I was disrespected. And I said, you know what? I'm sitting here trying to figure out why we're friends. And we've been friends for 20 years. Wow. And I said, I need you to give me an answer. And he took a week off, didn't give me an answer. And I finally called him back and I was like, well, I guess that's my answer. Goodbye. And he didn't say anything. He didn't fight me on it. He didn't say anything. So I was like, all right, see you later, alligator. And then I talked about it with Kenny and Kenny was like, well, you don't know what he could have been going through. He could have had, issues. He could have had a lot of stuff going on at the time. And I was like, okay, but I didn't feel important. So I'm leaving. And then so I thought about it and I was like, yeah, he's probably right. Let me give him a call and see what happened. And he was like, yeah, I had some issues. I ended up losing my house. And I was like, well, why didn't you call me? Yeah. So I don't know. But at the end of the day, we're friends again and we started talking again and everything's cool.
Oh, well, that's nice. Mm-hmm. That's good when you get a friendship back on the right terms.
Right. Yeah. I think we needed that break to like mentally compartmentalize everything.
It's funny, as I'm asking you these questions, I'm kind of mentally asking myself the same questions, because I actually have a history of having a very small number of friends by choice.
Yes.
This is not something, 30 years ago I would have argued that it was the other way around, that I didn't have a choice in it. Yeah. No, I now know. I definitely have choice.
Everything's by choice, yeah.
And not only that, it was fairly deliberate.
Yep.
Yeah. There wasn't a whole lot of unconscious going on there. I'm picky. What can I say? I'm picky about who my friends are.
I hear you, man.
And it's gotten to the point now where I realize when somebody moves out of my... I don't really... It's very rare for me to kick somebody out of my life. Because most of the ones who would be eligible for that never get very far in anyway. So for me, the way it works is if the friendship is working out, I spend more time. If the friendship isn't working out, I spend less time. And the ones where it's really not going to work out go away.
Right.
And I don't really do anything.
Well, you're doing it by not doing it.
Explain that one.
If there's no effort and consistency in a relationship, then I fade out or I will just cut you off either way. Either way, you're gone. So you're doing the fading out, but like not with any effort. You're just like, eh.
Oh, I see. Yeah. You're right. You're right. There is no effort in that. In fact, there's barely any thought process.
Right.
It literally, it's short attention span theater.
That's awesome.
What have you said to me lately?
yeah, exactly. Oh, that's a hashtag.
I mean, seriously, if someone is a close friend, so-called, and they haven't talked to me in 3 months, okay, I'll just wait it out. Maybe I'll be waiting 5 years. That's all right.
No, see, I like to make mine definite. I don't want you calling me in 3 more months going, hey, how's it going? Don't Facebook me like, we should hang out. No. I called you 3 months ago, left you a message and said, hey, are we still friends? If not, don't call me back. If so, call me back. Simple as that.
Well, if they do call back 6 months later, they called back.
No, I give them a time limit.
Ah, okay.
I'm like, you have 14 days or I'm deleting your number.
All right. So you are a little bit more specific than that.
Oh yeah, I'm very specific.
Okay. All right.
That's how it works. You got to deliberately ask for what you want.
Hey, the main thing is, you know what your method is. I found out what my method is. I didn't even know what it was. I kind of discovered it because, I guess that's what I do.
Oh, for me,
it was
I'm
one
just
of those
like,
things.
yeah, I just prefer people to be that way with me, be direct with me. So I'm direct with people.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, yeah, I don't know what else to say about it because I always find that the thing that I am best at when it comes to law of attraction is the thing I'm least good at expressing. Here's how to do it.
Same.
Relationships have always been really easy for me, and they've always been the hardest for me to explain.
Have they though, Walter?
They have. It's easier for me to explain health. It's easier for me to explain money. Relationships, I'm reaching. And I think it's just because I have been so good at it for so long, at knowing exactly what I want to do and who I want and who I don't want, and the whole thing sorting itself out. I don't even think about it anymore.
All right, let's bring it back to 20 years ago.
Okay.
20 years ago, Walt. How is he doing with relationships?
Well, 20 years ago,
No, scratch that 25 years ago, because I just remembered you guys have been together 20 years. Can't go.
That's where I was going, right? So 25 years ago, well, they were a disaster. But the method was still the same. It was.
So what pivot did you make to get to the good part?
I stopped. I pivoted away from being convinced that the next person I met wasn't going to work out. Because I developed a bad habit in that.
Yeah.
Basically a belief born out of low self-confidence. You get enough misses in a row and you start believing that they're going to continue.
Facts.
Continue. And that's what happened. You know? But I didn't realize I was undermining myself. I knew I was later.
Exactly.
But at the time I didn't know. So it took me a while to learn that one. But once I got what it was that I was doing, I didn't at that point have any idea how to attract what I wanted. But I knew I was done. And so I quit. And that's really what it amounts to. What was the pivot? It wasn't so much that I pivoted toward what I want, it's that I pivoted away from what I don't want in any other direction.
Yeah.
Just as long as it did not involve dating.
But that's when you went out and started living your best life, and then things happened for you.
Very quickly, yeah. Yeah, so I guess it goes to prove you really don't have to know how all of it works in order to leverage it. You just have to have some awareness of how you work.
Right.
And then make little micro shifts, to use Dan's terminology.
That's ironic.
Well, seriously, I mean, in that case, there was only one micro shift I made. And that was, I stopped dating.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a macro shift instead of a micro shift. But by that point in time, I was so frustrated with the whole thing that it was really a micro shift. I mean, I was ready to be done.
Yeah.
This was not going to be difficult. This was an easy call, you know? Yeah. So we're not talking a major pivot. We're talking about, okay, close that door, I'm done. I can't handle this anymore.
Mine was the same thing, but it was like probably a micro shift because I did say I was done, but at the same time, I still left Facebook dating open because it wasn't one of the websites that I had to go looking. It was one of the websites that they could see me and say, hey, how you doing? And I could say, you're not cute. Okay, whatever. And make my decision based on who contacted me. So that was, I quit, but I left the door open.
I'm wondering what I would have done if Facebook had been around when I was going through that.
Oh, man.
Because, I mean, it was just a cold turkey thing.
Yeah.
I didn't have, it was like, you know, the faucet's off, the faucet's on. It was that kind of thing.
I was like, no, let it drip so the pipes don't freeze.
I don't know how I probably would have done the same thing you did. I probably would have put it on autopilot and just checked in every, 2 weeks or something like that.
Right.
Just to see. And only on a day when I wasn't feeling good and I needed a way to feel better and it would make me feel worse.
Yeah, that can happen. That can happen.
Yeah. by the way, that's one of the reasons why I really don't spend much time on social media.
Yeah, it's a good way to get your feelings hurt.
Well, it isn't so much getting my feelings hurt. It's more, I end up, even when I'm focused on, I'm very careful about what I follow and what I don't follow on Facebook, what I respond to and what I don't respond to. And as a result, I've really molded the kind of content that comes my way. But even with that, I still don't like most of it. I like some of it,
yeah,
but most of it I don't. So I don't know if anybody's really looked at this side of social media, but social media is a self-correcting mechanism.
Yes, it definitely is.
If you let it be, you know, I mean, I guess I'm kind of opening myself up to being attacked for being a boomer. Oh yeah, well, he's not on social media very much.
Not the boomer. Oh, that's funny.
He doesn't even know what social media really is. So,
oh.
But that's okay. I'm willing to be open to that. That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's from my perspective, it's just anything that I'm really, really attuned now to. I want to spend more time focused on what I want. I'm really attuned to that, and it's growing, as will anything when you spend attention to it, give attention to it.
Yeah.
And I've been giving a lot of attention to it. 2019 was all about that, and I ended up producing some really cool results. I can hardly wait for the rest of 2020 just to see what happens here.
Right.
But nevertheless, you know, it's just part of this overall plan. I want to feel better. So if I'm running into stuff on social media that I don't like, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on social media. And I'll tell you honestly, in the long run, I'm sure that social media is going to do just fine.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling we've come pretty close to reaching the peak.
You feel
and
it?
I think people start backing off and start finding other things because, I mean, not everybody, certainly, because there are a lot of people who are very addicted to drama. Very, very interested in following every drama that exists, you know, and so they'll continue to be on social media. But for those people like me, who are relatively a smaller number by a large proportion, for the few of us who are like me, you know, we're just not going to want to spend much time there.
Yeah, that's not me. I'm here for the drama. I'm like, I don't know. It's a twisty turn because sometimes I'm like, all right, why are you putting all your business out there on every single post? But then at the same time, I'm like, oh, don't stop now. I'm on chapter 3 of this. I need to know what happens next. Did you leave him? Did you stay? Are you having the baby? What's happening? So, like, don't put me on a commercial break. I can't handle it. I'm checking in every day, refresh. It's an addiction. It's a problem.
So, well, okay. They say that the first step in overcoming an addiction is to recognize that you have the problem. So that's a good thing. You got it.
Yeah, but if you recognize you have the problem and admit that you like it,
then it's a question: is it really a problem at that point?
Touche.
Yeah. I mean, so far you've decided apparently that it's not a problem. So, because I know you, the moment you decide that it's a problem, you're going to be done with it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So far you don't think it's a problem.
I feel like a functioning alcoholic in that way. Like, yeah, I drink every day, but I can still go to work.
So
I don't
what is that
quite
called?
have the shakes yet. So
is that like a socialholic? What is that?
It is a socialholic. But I'm such an introvert. It's only online though, because like out there in the world, I don't care.
I don't care.
I mind my business outside. So it's only on my computer and my phone.
That's interesting. What you just said, because I don't have a distinction between online and offline. The same thing I don't care about online is the same thing I don't care about offline. The same thing I care about online is the same thing I care about offline. I wonder if that's a millennial thing because you guys grew up with the technology.
It could be, but it's like we also, for like half of our lives, didn't even have the technology.
That's true, yeah. It's the Gen Zs who are growing up completely with the technology.
Yeah, they don't know any other way.
Yeah. They're blown away by any of the possibility.
Yeah, right?
I still think one of the coolest funny jokes you can do is to put an old-style telephone in front of a Gen Z and ask them to try to use it.
You're going to die, because I put that in episode 3.
Did you really?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Oh, my God.
It wasn't a rotary phone, but basically, I'm not going to spoil it. It's not really a spoiler, but MJ does something and Nance's like, you know what? It's going to be all fun and games until I give you a flip phone with no internet access.
And by the way, flip phones are coming back. Did you hear?
They are. I was
They
like,
are.
Is that a Motorola? What is happening?
I don't know. I saw the headline. I said, whoa.
I can't go backwards personally. I just can't do it. But I don't know.
Well, it may be
It's like-
tied to what we talked about earlier, having that internet presence or wanting to cut down on that internet presence.
True.
Yeah, that's because when you have the flip phone, you don't really have internet. It's a dumb phone. It's not a smartphone.
It is a dumb phone. Oh
Yeah.
my God. I thought my therapist was the only one who said that.
Well,
She still has a dumb phone. She's like,
She has
I'm
a dumb
sorry,
phone.
I can't look it up. I have a dumb phone. Like,
I
oh
got
my
it.
God.
But I got to ask you. Maybe you have to explain to me afterwards so you don't spoil it. But is there
Okay.
a reason why MJ can't actually be confronted with a rotary phone? Because I think that'd be so much better.
Let me think about that.
Because you put a rotary phone in front of a
can
kid
add
who's
it
never
in
seen
there.
it before, and I mean they're just lost. They have no idea what to do with it.
There is a spot I can add it in. So it's
Let's do it. I mean,
Okay.
they put their finger in the holes.
Yeah. I mean, that's a little, like, very beginning of me and Nance's generation. Like, my grandma had that phone, and I still couldn't call my mom. I was like, I don't understand. How am I getting home? Because I don't know how to use this thing. My grandma had that phone forever. Oh, my God. It was made out of gold, so she had to keep it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can't think who it is, but there's somebody I know who actually has one of those old payphones with the rotary dial.
Shut up.
Yeah, and they have that in their home as a. Obviously, you don't have to put coins in order to make it
Yeah.
work. They've taken that part out, but yeah.
That's funny.
There are people there are people, believe it or not, who have the really old fashioned phones with the crank and the handpiece that you pick up that was on a cord.
Cut it out.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a very small percentage of the population that just loves those.
Oh,
Doesn't
my
mean that they don't
goodness.
have other technology, but it doesn't mean that they don't use other phones. They do. It's just, but they like to have one of those around, and some of them will actually wire them up.
Wow, that's crazy.
It is, yeah.
I don't even know where to find a regular payphone nowadays, like, let alone one with a crank. Oh my goodness.
I mean, it's a challenge because you can't really make a phone call. You can only receive one.
That's what I thought. I thought those crank ones were only for like calling the fire department.
Well, it was the way the crank worked was there was a live operator who would always switch everything through.
Oh, right.
They were manually working the switchboard. So they plug you into, you want to talk down to Clancy down at the auto work. Okay, I'll plug you into Clancy. That's what they did.
I've only seen this on TV. I did not experience this.
But that's the way it worked. That was, going back to the 1930s. Yeah. And then automatic switching came around as we entered the very earliest stages of the computer age, the transistor age, I guess I'd call it.
Oh, my God. So when did operators start losing their jobs?
Oh, almost immediately.
Oh, wow. That sucks. So that's what the
Yeah.
whole fear about robots taking over working is
Oh, yeah.
coming in.
Yeah. Well, the fact is, every single advance in technology does end up shutting down somebody's job somewhere.
Facts.
And when technology moves as quickly as it has over, say, the last 20, 30 years, that can be pretty traumatic.
Yeah.
But there's nothing going to slow that down that I can see. If anything, it's going to accelerate. It's just going to get faster. So you have to kind of be willing to zig and zag.
Yeah, you got to be able to move with the times.
We're long past the era that my dad grew up in. My dad worked for the same company his entire life. And a lot of people of that generation worked for the same company their entire lives.
Yeah.
And that's almost unheard of now. And for this very reason, because you can't be sure. Well, with certain careers you can be fairly sure, but with most careers you can't be sure that you won't become redundant at some point. You just can't. So you have to be ready to zig and zag. You have to be ready to shift.
My career, I'm pretty safe. Everybody needs their hair done.
That's true. That's true. And plus, I don't know how I'd replace you on here, so you're safe in the podcast
Double facts.
industry.
Yep, double facts.
So, now that's a form of relationships that I find easier to explain, to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Work type relationships, because that's what that really is. You know, your relationship to what you do for a living, to the people that you work with, to your boss, and so forth. That's a lot easier to talk about. I think the reason it's easier for me to talk about is that it's more black and white. Relationships are gray.
Agreed. Yes.
Right? You know, it's all gray area. And so it's harder to, from my perspective anyway, it's harder for me to get into the details of it. I'm always looking for, okay, how can I differentiate? And it's not always easy.
Yeah, it's not necessary. Yeah.
Health, that's pretty straightforward. You're either healthy or you're not. You know, you're feeling good health or you're feeling sick about something.
Yeah.
You know, it's one or the other. Money, you either are well off or you're not. There's not a whole lot of people saying, well, I'm kind of halfway wealthy, you know.
Halfway wealthy. I'm comfortable.
Comfortable, you get that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But not so much halfway. It's more like I'm either there or I'm not.
Yeah, it's either I'm wealthy or I'm living paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a different definition from one person to the next.
That's true.
What, you know, what's well off, what's not well off. For some people, living paycheck to paycheck is well off compared to where they used to be.
That's true. That's true.
You know, so it just depends on your perspective.
Right.
So that's easier to discuss. But the relationships, that's where everything is gray area. I mean, you've come up with things that you mentioned here about, you know, you don't put up with being ghosted. You don't put up with, you know, being mistreated and all that.
I don't put up with
That's fairly
much.
black and white.
Yeah.
That's a good contrast.
I'm a fairly
there.
black and white person.
Yeah, so that makes it easier. But a lot of it, I mean, you read like somebody posting, they're trying to, the classic trying to get their ex back or something like that. Usually the easier ones are the ones where it's just so blatantly obvious that they're a completely non-vibrational or bad vibrational place. You know, it's just about anything suggests it's going to be an improvement.
Yeah.
But there's also the kind of person who posts about this stuff and they're ambivalent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want to get him back, but maybe I shouldn't, but I don't really know. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's when it's new and fresh. I can usually tell that's when it's like, it just happened within like the last 2 weeks.
Oh, because the ones that I've seen more often than not when they're posting like that, it's like they've been living with it for 6 months.
It can happen that way too, because sometimes they've been like, all right, I went out, tried other people, and you know what? I really missed this person. It's like, do you, or did you just not find the same thing that you were looking for? But not everybody's the same, so you're not going to get the same feeling from everybody.
That's true. Yeah. It reminds me of one of the very rare television shows I ever watched.
All one of them. Was it West Wing?
No, it wasn't West Wing. No.
Oh.
It was a British sitcom called As Time Goes By that Louise really liked, so I would watch those.
Never heard of it.
Judi Dench starred in that. But
love her.
Oh, she's terrific. She's really terrific. She did that one for, 8 or 9 years, I think, in Britain, something like that. So it was a very popular series. But in that series, I've kind of lost the link of what we were just talking about, but I'll just go where I can with it. In that series, it was just fun watching the way that they portrayed the relationships because it was so real. It wasn't like none of it felt, well, I can't say none of it. A lot of it did not feel contrived. Some of it was because it's scripted, and so you're writing these ridiculous scenarios. But even the ridiculous scenarios weren't all that ridiculous. They were more like dad joke ridiculous. You know, they were
That's the best kind.
Yeah, it wasn't anything you could take really seriously. You know, and when you have somebody who can portray relationships in a way that there's a dysfunctionality that goes on and so forth, but then there's also the voice of reason, usually in the form of the curmudgeon saying something dismissive about whatever that situation is. You know, and you just feel like, oh, well, okay, this is normal. This is real.
Yeah. Sounds like my life.
I like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So,
Speaking of which, did you start your show yet?
I have not. I did look it up. So I now understand it has a political theme. That's probably why you thought I might be interested in it.
Little bit, and it's a little West Wing-ish. That's why I was like, okay, you know what? I think this will be well. You be quiet.
There is actually a West Wing episode that hints at that one.
Oh.
It's the episode where President Bartlett goes to give the State of the Union address, and he picks the Secretary of Agriculture to be the odd man out, staying in the White House in case something happens.
Okay.
Yeah. So nothing ever actually happens in that sense, but
Right.
in the sense of what that series does.
Oh man.
Am I going to watch it? I'll watch it at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, don't.
I'm not putting you on a timer. We have
No timer here. No, timers are going to be disappointment.
It's on Netflix. It'll be there forever. You get to it when you get to it.
Eventually, I'll find some time when I'm not doing programming or whatever, and
Right.
okay, get some downtime. Let's just rot my brain on television for a while.
Good old boob tube.
Yeah. So. I still don't remember what my point was, so I can't remember why I even brought that in.
We were talking about getting your ex back and then that old feeling and something about the difference between feeling it in 2 weeks and feeling it in 6 months.
Yeah, and I have no idea what the connection
You lost
was.
it? Okay.
It's gone.
It's a fart in the wind.
It was apparently that important,
Yes, it was so important.
This is kind of like the way I normally handle relationships, Oh, it disappeared? I guess so. All right.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, no, not me. I'm not like, hey, I haven't talked to so-and-so in a while. No, I know where they are and what's happening.
Actually, you know what my best clue is when the relationship is going away?
Mm-hmm.
It's Louise asking me, so how's so-and-so? And I have no answer for them.
Yep, same. My mom will be like, hey, when was the last time you talked to so-and-so? Like, I didn't tell you about that?
I didn't tell you about that because there was nothing to tell. I have no idea. So-and-so
Yep.
hasn't contacted me. So
And I was like,
just,
nope, that's a good point. Got to make that phone call, see where they're at.
If you don't want to make the effort, you can't expect the friendship.
Effort and consistency.
Or even inconsistent. I mean, occasional is I can accept occasional because I can handle occasional.
No, I'm not an occasional kind of person.
So
No, I'm not gonna lie. I do have one friend that we were best friends. I mean, call every day, 3 times a day type of friends. And now that he's married and has a kid, we're holiday friends. It's like, oh, Merry Christmas. Your baby's cute. Yeah, it's sad.
But
I miss him. But
that's occasional.
yeah, that is occasional. That's why I said there is an exception to the rule.
Yeah.
But he was a very good friend, and we didn't have a falling out or anything, so he's allowed.
So he's enjoying his married life.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Which is great. His family life.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
I totally understand when people go ghost after they get married and start having kids. I'm like, that's a lot to deal with.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
Totally get that. I don't fault people for that, but it's like, you have no reason for not calling me, and I'm calling you, and I'm not getting responses. Effort and consistency, people. That's how you get cast off my island real quick.
That's how you get brick walls built in front of your eyes.
Facts.
Rolling the windows up.
I'm quick with the mortar and brick. Come on now.
So you managed to find a way to take the subject that I find to be most black and white and turn it into or most gray area and turn it into a black and white. The walls going up is fairly black and white. There's not a whole lot of room for gray there.
No.
You can try to talk me out of it halfway through putting the mortar on, but that's about it.
Yeah, there's still going to be that base right there. That windowsill is still there. That's
Okay. So let's see. Did we really? I think we kind of touched on everything regarding your fabulous victory and Kenny's fabulous victory in finding each other.
Yes, remind him Kenny's fabulous victory.
Well, it's both of you.
That was my other thing. I was also being positive and negative in my negativity at the same time. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with these dudes. I'm amazing. Like, what is happening? So then I just pivoted to I'm amazing, and the next amazing person will come along.
You can hear it in the way you phrased that, the way you changed the phrase.
Yeah.
You softened it. And when you softened it, it basically removed the barrier.
Yep, definitely.
Just the way you expressed it. That was beautiful. That was such a great example. We often wonder, how is it that we get rid of resistance? You just did it. That was a beautiful way of just letting go of some resistance.
It was, like I said, it was a long year last year. Learned a lot. Definitely learned a lot. With your help, of course.
Oh, well, glad I could be of assistance, You're the one who did it. I just gave you some kibitzing. That's about all.
Yeah, but these hour-long talks twice a week, it helps.
Fact.
It's like a third therapy session.
Yes. This is 5 days a week for me therapy.
Yep.
It's actually moved way beyond therapy. It's more like, it's past coaching. What's beyond coaching?
Enlightenment.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder everything seems brighter. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's not just the new prescription, Walt.
Clarity really is.
Clarity. 2020.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I was realizing that when I was talking the last few shows about how I think 2020 is going to be the year of clarity. And I do believe that. But I think it's also a reflection of where I'm at.
Agreed.
I'm looking for the clarity. I'm experiencing the clarity. I'm experiencing the clarity. And so I expect more of it.
Yes.
So
I agree.
Maybe it's just me, but I don't think so. I think everybody's going to be experiencing it to one degree or another. I'll tell you this, and maybe this becomes like a setup for a show for next Tuesday or something. But I think there are going to be a number of people who are going to find clarity without knowing anything about law of attraction or anything about being a conscious creator. Just clarity is going to come, and they're not going to like it, and they're going to try to turn it off.
I hear that.
Yeah. Because if you're not in that good place, you don't want clarity. You're fighting for that negativity. You're fighting for it.
With the clarity, you start to see your own reflection, and sometimes it's not pretty.
Yeah. You don't really want to have to come face to face with who you really are sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you don't.
So,
but then sometimes you're us, and it's awesome.
Well, I think it is awesome. You and I and our listeners and our other co-hosts and so forth, I think we are awesome. And I'm so grateful that all those listeners are listeners.
Yes.
I also think that it's a wonderful thing when somebody who doesn't really want to see that reality has it come back to them anyway. I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Agreed. I
so
totally
even
agree.
though there are people who are just not going to get excited about it being a year of clarity because they don't want the clarity, guess what? It's going to be good for them anyway. And it's going to be good for them anyway.
Yep.
Even though if they reject it, even if they just throw it into the sewer, it's still going to, you can't escape it. Once it happens, it happened. And now all of a sudden you have to, talk about building the brick and mortar wall. Now you have to build up a brick and mortar wall about the things that you like so that you don't see them anymore.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's a rough thing to do. Anyway, we're nearing the end of our allotted time. Let's make sure that we let people know who are not yet subscribers how to become subscribers. So first of all, we live stream as we're recording to YouTube and tell people how they can see us as we're live streaming 4 p.m. New York time, Monday through Friday.
Oh, this is my favorite part. Okay, so go on down to YouTube, the old tube of you, and search LOA Today podcast videos. And once you do that, you will see our smiling faces. And down below our smiling faces, there is a red subscribe button. Next to the red subscribe button, there is a silver bell. And make sure when you hit that silver bell, you click all so you will always be notified when we are live.
That's beautifully done. And, of course, it's not all that different when you're subscribing to the podcast, except that there's no video. But other than that, it's pretty much the same method. You don't actually have to go do a lot of search. Just go to loatoday.net, and right at the top it tells you how to do it. We have been reliably informed by Dan Mangena that it was one click for him. I don't guarantee one click. I do guarantee within 5 and usually 2 or 3. It depends on your particular situation. But, in most cases, it's going to be like that. And after that, all the episodes are coming right to your device that you prefer to listen to. So it's just that simple. Become a subscriber. We really appreciate those who are subscribers. The numbers have continued to climb. We've entered on a wonderful winning streak, and I expect that winning streak to continue. It's going to be a good year, Alex.
It is. It's going to be a good year.
Stay tuned because, seriously, it's going to get better. I think about this. How much improvement I experienced last year, and I'm sure that the same was true for our listeners. I know it was also true for you.
Yep.
These things tend to accelerate. I'm not even sure I can visualize how much it's going to accelerate in 2020.
I don't even know, man, but I'm excited to find out.
I know. Yeah. Stay tuned. Right?
Yep.
It's going to be good. Yeah. And, of course, make sure that you tune into the show every day so that you can find out what the latest news on that is because that's what we do. We share that news.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, I don't know what else we could have done to welcome in the new year beyond that. I think we did a pretty good job.
This is a quick hour.
I know. They fly.
They fly.
They really fly, but it's good. It's all good. So thank you very much, Alex. Thank you to our podcast listeners as well. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.